It says starting. All right. The Hangout on Air is live. All right. So if this is actually going.
Mine says live.
All right. I have to check a couple of things here first. And then.
Is there like a chat or something?
Yeah. The chat I have access to. So I'm just going to wait until I have everything online. But who knows how this works?
We will learn together.
We will learn together.
Shannon, your chair is so intense.
It's not mine, and it's really big. My feet are dangling like a foot off the ground.
It's like your toilet.
I know.
Oh my God, you guys. Oh man.
Uh-oh.
Can someone go onto my channel?
Because I'm already on it in another tab.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Wait, yeah.
I just have no idea.
Guys, I'm sweating.
All right. Oh, live now. Oh.
Can you see us?
I can. I can see myself. Oh, that's weird.
Really? I'm going.
You're going?
I'm going.
Oh, live now.
Oh, I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah, I feel. I hear feedback.
Okay.
All
it's
right.
Live.
So this is a whole new thing. All right. So I'm just going to go back. I think everything is good now, and we are all set and live and streaming for the past like 2 minutes of us just talking of random stuff. So I guess I will introduce this thing for anybody who wants to watch. Hello, welcome to the Enchanted Library. My name is Kaylee, and these are some of my friends. We have Jessica, who just laughed. Say hi, Jess.
Hi.
She's there as Riley, but that's just lies. And then we have the lovely Shannon.
Hi.
And today we are going to try this whole idea of live streaming while we talk about books, because that's just my MO, is talking about books constantly. So why not add it to a live show and bring my friends into it under duress?
No duress.
As we all take a sip of tea. Oh man. God. All right, so this being our first, what was that?
We did not plan that.
No, that was not planned.
Wow.
That was just us being us.
Shannon, yours is in HD. Every time you go up, it says HD beside you.
Oh, I don't.
So fancy.
So fancy.
Fine. Don't worry about it. I just think you're fancy.
It's super fancy.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we did basically is back in December, was it December or November that we talked about this, Jess?
I feel like we started talking about it in November, but then we like decided on things in December.
Okay, so you already have a book club that you do every month, and we sort of started chatting about it, and then I really wanted to do one too.
Pretty much.
And hence this happened. And what we're basically trying to do is every month, one of us is going to pick like 4 books to choose from, and then vote on whatever one has the highest. So January was my first month. So I picked 4 different books, and then the winning vote was I Was Anastasia by Ariel Lawhon. And so I have my copy right here. If you ladies have your copies, I don't know. Oh, you guys both went to grab them at the same time. Yeah, so we've been reading the book throughout January, and we all have a bunch to say. And if you guys want, we can start out with what we're drinking.
Okay. I am drinking a cinnamon rooibos chai.
I'm really glad you got that right.
From David's Tea. It's delicious.
Yummy.
Yeah, perfect for a blustery -38 night.
I still can't believe it's -38.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Terrible.
Gross.
Shannon?
I am drinking a kiwi passion fruit green tea from Steep Tea, complete in my Snorlax is my favorite Pokemon cup.
I love it.
Oh, we're
Gotta
talking
make
about our
sure-
cups too. I have a free spirit mug.
That's from Chapters Indigo.
It is.
I am drinking a mint chocolate chip black tea, so it kind of tastes like an after eight cookie, which I absolutely love.
I was
And
going to
it
drink the mint chocolate chip rooibos tea. No joke. I had it in my hand,
really,
and I was like, oh, I haven't had this in forever. Why did I pick this?
I am also drinking it out of a David's tea cup, but it is the biggest one that I have because it can fit pretty much an entire teapot's worth of tea in it. So
That's awesome.
Very
I
nice.
love it.
I'm already like halfway done my tea, and I'm worried.
I know it's a problem.
I also brought my water as a backup, so I'm good on the hydration front.
Oh, see, that's
I do
very
have my mason jar of tea too.
mason jar of tea. I just have this. Now I want more because I have a feeling I'm going to go through this really quickly.
It's half gone, but I have my mason jar.
That thing is gigantic.
Oh,
I'm
gosh.
prepared.
Now, okay, so another reason that we're doing this is because we all live in different cities, but we have all been like pretty much best friends for what, 15 years?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Half our
So
lives.
now that we're all hitting 30, well, we're all in 30 now. It's that time that we want to just chat and talk and get back on track with each other. So this is another excuse to do that when we live so far away.
You and I don't live so far away.
Well, yeah, you know what? Okay. You and I don't live so far away, but we're still in different cities
We still never see
technically.
each other.
I know, it's bad. I have too much going on. It's my own fault. All right. So I guess that's an intro, right? And then I guess we can go into non-spoilery. Oh no, actually, you know what? I'm going to talk about what this book is actually about before we do anything else. Okay, so I Was Anastasia. I think I'm actually just going to read the flap here, right? I feel like that would give a good synopsis. Let's see if I can read it without making a mistake. In an enthralling new feat of historical suspense, Ariel Lawhon unravels the extraordinary twists and turns in Anna Anderson's 50-year battle to be recognized as Anastasia Romanov. Is she the Russian Grand Duchess, a beloved daughter, and a revered icon, or is she an imposter, the thief of another woman's legacy? Dun dun dun! So, this book covers two timelines, which is one being Anastasia Romanov and the other being Anna Anderson, who is suspected to be Anastasia Romanov, because there was this whole thing that happened back in the day where after the Romanovs were kind of defeated, they had this theory that two of the children actually escaped, and one of them being Anastasia Romanov. So a lot of people tried to pretend that they were her to get the money. And this is basically the story of one of those people and whether or not she actually was the Grand Duchess. So that was a lot of talking I just did. Do you girls want to start off saying your non-spoilery thoughts?
Shannon, why don't you go first?
I liked it. It was a heartbreaking read, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm really bad at this.
That's okay. What would you give it as a star rating? Like if you were to rate it on Goodreads out of 5 stars, what do you think it would have been?
3.5.
Solid. You know what? I'm thinking 3.5 as well. Jess?
Yeah, I did put it on my Goodreads. I put it as a 4 because I felt a 3 was too low, but a 4 was kind of a little high. So I think 3.5 was great. I liked the book. There's obviously, as we'll get into things, there's different feelings I had at different points or different things about the book, but I did think it was a good read. I enjoyed it a lot. So
It was a good read. I see what you did there.
Is that another one of those mom jokes?
I drop them all the time, and I'm not a parent yet, so no judgment.
Well, Matt also does dad jokes, so it's all good.
I'm way
Dad
worse.
jokes, you change one letter and they're bad jokes. So That's
Oh, see, that's a mom joke.
I just like puns. That's all.
Love a good pun. So with my non-spoilery thoughts about the book, like I said, I gave it about a 3.5 star as well, because there were some things. I feel like the main point that I really enjoyed about this book was the history aspect, because of all of the research that she actually did into Anastasia Romanoff and Anna Anderson's lives.
Mhm.
So I feel like that was my main draw, because I already knew the story, like I knew what the actual outcome was. But going into the book initially, I didn't actually expect for it to be as true to history as what it was. I was thinking it was going to be more of a historical fiction complete reimagining, not historical fiction true to form.
Well,
So I don't
that's
know
where
if
you actually have a different take on the book completely, at least than myself. I don't know about you, Shannon, because you came in with the prior knowledge that I didn't come in with, right? So I had no idea what was historically accurate, what wasn't, which actually piqued my interest more, because I was like, oh, is this a reimagining? Did this really happen? How much of this is real? How much of this is fake? And kind of going through that. And so where you would come at it from, okay, I know that this is what it is or this isn't, it was all new. Well, I mean, I know who Anastasia is, but it was all kind of a new experience, which was
The extent
interesting.
of my knowledge was based on the cartoon that we all know and love so much that we've been watching since we've been friends, right? And
Yes.
Yeah.
Haley's been reading her Romanov audiobook. Or you haven't been reading it, you've been listening to it. But yeah, so you obviously have a bit more background. But yeah, that was super interesting for sure. I appreciated that.
Yeah, it really spoke to how much research she did, because even like there was some things that I knew about the Romanovs, considering like it was about preteens that I first got my interest piqued about them, and that was thanks completely to the film. And then when there were some deeper researches that were done into the history of the Romanovs that came out when we were about 17 or 18. And it actually followed the whole Anna Anderson story. So I actually remembered that partway through reading this. I think a couple of chapters in, there was a name that triggered my memory. And I was like, wait, I actually know this. I know what is happening here. So yeah, it definitely did make it a different reading experience for me than I guess for you guys coming into it not really knowing everything about the Romanovs.
Yeah, but I was actually impressed. I mean, as again, we'll get into things, but in the author's note at the end, just learning how much she read and how much research she did do and how much was true to form, but also the fact that she was pretty blatant in saying, you know, I changed some things.
Yeah.
And like, which you have to, because
Yeah.
you can't make it completely 100% historically accurate and keep the storyline going and also make readers understand things. So
especially with people who have such similar names.
Yes, exactly.
And I really like that she had one of the references that she used was the Montefiore book that I'm reading right now on audiobook that you mentioned, Shannon. That was one of the references she used. So I thought that was pretty cool. I just haven't gotten there yet in the audiobook that I'm working on.
Cool. It definitely inspired me to want to dive in deeper about the Romanovs and educate myself more.
It's really interesting. Like that whole family, there's so much about them that's just insane. You wouldn't believe half the things that have happened in their history. It's crazy.
Yeah. I kind of want to like go on a research trip now.
Research
I would if I had.
Well, I definitely
Enchanted
recommend
library book club trip.
Maybe that can be our like 35th.
There we go.
Go on a Romanov pilgrimage.
A Romanov pilgrimage. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So overall, I guess we can say that we all generally enjoyed the book and had a lot of thoughts about it that are a lot more spoilery. So we are going to move into spoiler territory. So I know that we have a couple of viewers going in and out, but this is going to be on the channel as well. So if you are watching this and you have not read the book yet, be forewarned that there's going to be spoilers. And if you already know the history of the Romanovs, it is what it is. So, so who wants to go first?
Not it.
Kaylee, why don't you start? We rotate.
All right. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to say, going right into spoilers, is that with regards to the writing style, because there were two different points of views, obviously. We had Anastasia's and we had Anna's, and they each had their own alternating chapters, where Anastasia's were chronological, Anna's were jumping all over the place to keep you on your toes. But there are a couple of tells that that she used for it, which was when we're in Anastasia's chapters, she's writing in first person. Like Anastasia is experiencing these moments. It's her talking about them. It's her opinions. But then when we're talking about Anna and her chapters, we're talking in third person, where it's talking about things happening to her.
Mhm.
So when I noticed that in the second chapter, that to me was kind of telling in and of itself before I even had that memory of the Anna Anderson story. So I knew pretty much right from the beginning that, right, this is going to be a true story, but obviously Anna is not Anastasia.
Yeah. Yeah, the non-linear timeline was definitely hard to keep up with at certain points. So and writing in like writing things in present tense can be a little bit harder to keep up with, I find, instead of writing in past tense. Like I did this, I went here. Instead it's like, it's present tense. So I don't know, it confused me at a few points throughout the book.
Well, and it was like we talked about as we were all starting to read it, it took a while to get into the jumping of the timelines.
Yes.
Because between, like Kaylee had said, Anastasia's was chronological, but it was still like you were changing time periods and you were jumping through different years and stuff, because obviously a book can't go day to day through like a whole series of events, but you're jumping around. And then Anna's is completely all over the place and backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So like she started, and the author does explain at the end, which I was really happy that she explained why she did that. But she started Anna's story like right at the end of her thing and worked backwards, and then it all kind of came together, which it made sense because that's how they allowed you to keep suspense and questioning whether or not it was. Because if they started at the point at the end of the book, then you'd kind of be like, oh, I know exactly what's happening. So
exactly, like the whole premise of having it backwards was so then that way you actually questioned it. Like, is this really happening to her? And I liked how it actually ended up working in where it converged to where Anastasia's story ended, Anna's began. So I liked how that sort of wove together, even though at the end we know it was a little bit confusing the way that it was written, purposefully so, but I think that it could have been just a little bit more woven better. Wow, words.
I think that's why I gave 3.5 instead of 4 stars, to be honest.
Yeah, because the weaving of the storylines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it was oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
I think it was also very interesting having with these weaving storylines and the fact that you had them come together at the end, that it made you realize how much, I mean, again, I don't know how historically accurate it is, but how much work this Anna Anderson person went to.
Yep.
To like to understand, like it was incredible. Like it was just like, how did she even know how to do all these things or know enough of this information? I mean, obviously she kept herself quiet in certain areas and was elusive in other areas, but some of the stuff, like I wouldn't know how to impersonate a royal person, like enough that would convince someone that I was royal. Like you can easily be like, oh, okay, I know how to sit at a table properly, or I know how to do something. But the fact that the things that she knew were so intense.
It also happened to, oh, sorry, Shannon.
No, I just said bona fide con artist.
Oh, completely. And that was one thing that bothered me, not about the story, how it was written. I think that was well done, how she explained all of that. But the person of Anna Anderson doing that and being so committed to it, as I was reading, the longer that I read, the angrier I got because this woman was taking advantage of this family. Like, and the only reason that she really knew all of this information was by happenstance, because she found out about the article and she met up with Gleb, which is a real person. Gleb Botkin, he was real. And he told her just by chatting half of the stuff. And then the icons and things that she came across, like, it might take me a minute to find it, but I did flag it. The different, like the chess set, the icons thing, and how she came across that. And she was given the photo album by Tanya or Tanya, I'm not sure. But yeah, just all of that stuff coming together just sort of worked in her favor, but was also awful as a person.
The paper knife.
And the paper knife, yeah. Because that was the perfect thing to add in to make you really question it. Like, how would she's been holding on to this paper knife forever? Yeah. How does she still have it and not be Anastasia?
Well, it's very interesting too, because I obviously didn't know whether or not it was Anastasia. I had my guesses based, again, like off of the writing style and stuff, but I didn't know. And so all those things did convince, like I was convinced that I was like, oh, like how else would she know all this stuff? How else would she have all these things? Until it started unraveling and you get into like, oh, like she's taken here and this guy gives her this and this happens here and whatever. And then it all makes sense. But you're sitting there and you're like, how else? Like, of course. So I understand how she convinced so many people. Like that's, I mean, I would be convinced if someone came up to me and handed me something and was like, oh, I'm so-and-so relative of yours. And look, I have all these things that prove that I am. And I know all the right things to say, and I have the stories, and I can pinpoint in this photograph what was happening. Like, of course, you'd question it.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing that I'm questioning too, because I don't know how accurate that is in history, if she actually had all of those pieces, or if that was just strictly for the book, because I don't remember it actually coming into play aside from her going off with Tanya and discovering the chess set or being given these things. Other than that, she never used them to prove anything. So I don't know if those were real things that she used and that she had in real life. But still, a lot of her story is accurate. Like even the Anastasia movie from the 1950s, like that is all real. So her going to visit that actress and talking about things, that's all real.
Was the court case real? Like, did they actually go through?
I think it was, just because it was so massively covered. I feel like the court case was real. I can't remember 100%, but I think it was.
What about her meeting with Hitler? When I read that, I was like, ugh.
That I don't know, because really, who would know that? The only people who would know that would be Hitler and Anna.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. But then there are things that she talks about in Anastasia's life that are quoted, that are actual quotes, because the Romanovs kept like diligent notes on what they did day to day. So it's crazy, because even in the audiobook that I'm listening to, the Romanovs, it reads almost like a story, because there's dialogue back and forth. So it's believable.
That's crazy.
I want to read this book now.
It's a 28-hour long audiobook, so it's a commitment.
It's only an audiobook format?
Oh no, you can get it in like you can get a physical copy. That's how I found out about it, was because I saw it at Chapters. And I really wanted it, but it also costs a lot. So I was like, well, I have a free audiobook thing, so.
That makes sense.
That's a smart audiobook choice.
Yeah, sure. You got to use it with the good money. I'm trying to think. Oh, right. Rasputin. I thought Rasputin was going to play a bigger role than she actually did.
Yes, going in, it was entertaining, because we all had our knowledge of
notions.
Yes, of Rasputin at the beginning and going into the book. So then seeing that it was one of his relatives, which I don't even know if that is a thing, like if she
that I can't confirm. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that was interesting. And then the point in the book when it actually talked about them hanging Rasputin's
body
private
for
areas for
Yep.
everybody to see and taking it off. And
Mhm.
yeah, that was quite
measuring it to a brick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Little graphic, but it was
Yeah.
interesting.
Like, I definitely thought that Maria Rasputin, I think was
Yes.
her name. Yeah. I thought that she was going to have a much bigger role. Like, again, this is with my preconceived notions that this book was completely fictionalized and thinking that this was going to be a character that was going to be an adversary throughout the story. Just having her as sort of, I don't know, just like a side character, but just having that name was such a draw. I think that was smart to add in, but I definitely thought that it would be a bigger part.
Well, that whole part of the story was so short.
Yeah.
Because then it started working its way backwards. And so I thought it was going to continue. I think that's actually why it took me a while. I don't know about you girls, but it took me a while to get into it, because in my head, I kind of set myself in this image of like the present with Anna and her being confronted and like this whole, like that storyline.
Yeah.
And so then when it started jumping, I was like, what's going on? So.
I agree.
Yeah, it took me maybe like 2 chapters of the back and forth to fully get into it, but I'm also used to reading different timeline books. Was there any points that you ladies wanted to draw attention to?
Don't think so.
Because
hold on.
Because I'll tell you, I did flag a part where Maria sort of stiffs her with the bill at the restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
I flagged that part as that's when I truly hated this woman.
Yeah, fair enough. A emotional part, I mean, there was a million emotional parts, but a really emotional part for me, super spoiler, was the dog.
Oh my God.
Oh,
I was like literally in tears because it's like, this poor dog
on the train.
My dog
on the
extra
train.
tight after that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, and then everything with the affairs and obviously the murders, but I think because that's when everything started to speed up at that point in the book, and obviously I have a heart for dogs.
It got so emotional so fast.
Yeah.
From there on out, it was just a mess of a book.
And can I just say, I really love the relationship between Anastasia and Tomas. I thought that was just like, the sweetest thing ever. At first, I was like, I don't know if this should be like, if it's considered like a Stockholm syndrome kind of thing, but it's not in Tomas's control that he's a guard. Like, he's just trying to make the best of his situation. But the way he looks out for her and her dog Jimmy, and how they like kind of fall in love, but then they have to ultimately separate. It just
broke my heart.
It took me to a place.
I thought that Gleb and Anastasia would destroy me, or like Gleb and Anna, but it was Anastasia and Tomas.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Anastasia and Tomas.
Yeah. I have to say, this proves yet again that I thought Anna was Anastasia, because at the point, again, spoiler, the point in the book when it's like talking about the Anna being pregnant, I was like, oh my gosh, is it his baby? Like, did she run away? Did he come get her because she was in the pile and she wasn't dead yet? And he came and got her, and then like
got my hopes up,
and I got all excited, and then
see, I wish I didn't know things, because then I would have had that same reaction. I wish I had that reaction.
Me and Jess, built up our hopes for sure.
Oh.
That's funny that you thought the same thing, because I didn't talk to you about that.
Yeah, I was pretty excited, and then was shattered.
So disappointed. I was like, oh.
Even when they were like, "You're a whore," and I was like, "No, she's not. No, she's not. No, she is."
Oh man. God. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever get over Anastasia and Tomas. That was just. She should have just run away with him, but she was too committed to her family.
I want to know if he was real, if their relationship was real.
I will keep you up to date once I get to that part in my book.
Please do.
Yes, because I would like to learn more about that. But yeah, her and Tomas deserve so much better.
I know.
And then her poor sister. Oh my gosh. Like,
The
I mean,
one who
Julia
went with
and
the parents?
Ivan.
yes. Like, although, whatever, there's their own things with each of the family members, but the fact that, like, she was just in love and had, like, this relationship, and then, the terrible things that had to come out of that. Just
To watch him get beaten basically
yeah,
to death.
because if she looked away, then be shot.
And
Like,
then,
which he probably did anyway.
yeah, terrible.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like a whole other level of torture.
Mm-hmm. I was also impressed, and I'm
I
assuming
also thought at one point, like, sorry?
Oh, I was just saying, I was also impressed,
sorry.
and I'm assuming that it's a historical thing, but them sewing all of the jewels into their clothes,
Yes,
that's impressive.
it is.
Yeah, that's a smart thing.
And the fact
It's
that
just,
Anastasia was
the
wearing
thing,
a corset during the shooting, and that basically saved the bullets from like puncturing her heart and her lungs. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
They were really smart, like as smart as they could be, obviously.
Mhm.
Like you sort of see, I can see where this is awful, but I can see where both sides, like the Romanovs and then the mob mentality or whatever. But man, it was just they went about it all wrong. Like that was just a mess. And man, the friggin' elephant too.
There was just too much animal cruelty in this book, I tell you.
There's a lot of animal cruelty. Like it was, I understand why the guy killed it, but man, I didn't want to see it die and then have its tusks made into chess pieces.
But to me, and obviously there's probably reasons, but like, could you not have just, I guess you can't set it loose, but is there no other way you could have dealt with this besides murder?
Did they
not financially viable.
Did they not have any zoos at that time?
It would go to a circus, if anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, why couldn't they have like given him to?
Because they wanted to send a message.
I know.
Which is so sad. Humans are mean.
Yeah. And then little Alexei.
Yeah.
He just, man, he started out as like a spoiled little kid, but he learned eventually, kind of.
I really felt for him. Well, I mean, I felt obviously for all of them on the train, but I really felt for him on the train. Can you imagine this little boy and his sisters are being taken away and like just trying to deal with that? Oh,
I know.
He was clueless to a lot of it, though. Like, as they were going on the train, he just, well, I don't know if it was because of his illness or his attitude. I couldn't quite place it because he was exhausted. Like, he went right to bed
sick,
when
yeah.
they were in their bunks,
Well,
right?
he had been sick before they went on the train. They were waiting for him to get better to go on to the train, and then they went on the train right as soon as he got better. So he could have, it could have been the sickness, or could have been, like you said, the attitude.
He tried to pull a Kevin McAllister in Home Alone, and it ended terribly for him.
Yeah,
it really did.
Is that too brutal?
A little bit, but it's all right. I accept it.
I'm wondering if that actually happened too.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he stomped his foot. He wanted his snow mound.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Snow mound.
Okay.
That's a weird word.
What?
Snow
mound? I don't know. Hill? Small hill?
Mound.
All right. I'm just trying to think here. So I talked about the icons. I really wanted to talk about those, which we already did. Yeah. I like made a note of every time that they were mentioned pretty much. And then, on page 117, when they were talking about her family, like, did anybody else like just hate Anna when she was talking to her actual family and just playing dumb?
Once I found out it was her actual family, at the time I was like, these people are just trying, like, I was like, are they being paid? Why are they claiming it's their relative? Are they just like dealing with the fact that they missed their sister, blah, blah, blah. But then once I found out, I was like, this is your family. Like, this is people that love you. Don't be a jerk.
It was just crazy. And it was at that page at the top of 117 that the name finally registered to me. I was like, wait, no, this is who she actually is.
Oh, Francesca? Or
Yeah, because that last name, I can't even pronounce it. It's like
Shanskowska.
Shanskowska?
Shanskowska.
I hope we're not destroying that. I'm sure we are. But yes.
Apologies. We are mere Canadians.
Yeah.
We're just trying our best.
It's crazy though that like the one sister was so adamant that like, no, this is her. But the other ones were like, no, it's not. Like it's, I don't know. I find that interesting that they wouldn't believe that it was her. Like that she could pull a fast one on her own family.
Yeah, like how much has she actually changed that her relatives don't recognize her?
Yeah.
Especially when one is so adamant. Because clearly she was of age because she was pregnant, so she was a bit older, so you don't change that much once you like are an adult.
Unless she ran away really young?
Maybe. But I mean, okay, so hold on. If we're looking at
but no, because it says on page 117, it says the last time I saw her, she was pregnant.
So hold on. How old would she have been? Disappeared in early 1920, and this is in 1938, so 18 years.
Couldn't have been that drastic of a change, I would think.
And then also, she's the same age as Anastasia, who was born in 1901.
Okay.
She's old enough that you wouldn't change your appearance that much.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's kind of upsetting that her family doesn't recognize her, but also that she's playing into this whole ruse.
Mm-hmm. Makes me wonder, like, if she had won the case, if she had actually convinced them all, what would she have done? Like, what do you do once you become someone else? I don't know.
It's sociopathic. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear my husband making popcorn. Oh, he gets a cameo of his arm.
He's making a cameo.
He just got home from groceries.
Ooh, click and collect.
Mm-hmm. Hashtag not a sponsor.
Random thing, but I love the nickname that they had, that her whole family had for Anastasia. I just thought this was so cute that everyone called her that, the Schwibsick.
And that was that was real.
Yeah,
that's really cute.
That's sweet.
Okay, so I'm just taking a look here where Anna first got admitted into the hospital and she refused to say her name or give her name for that matter.
Okay.
So do we think... Actually, no, never mind. Cross that out. But because I was just thinking my timeline got mixed up. She had already known before then. Thinking out loud, guys.
The doctor threatened to like get the orderly to like take her clothes off.
Not that. It's just the fact that they forged her signature.
Yeah, and he's like, I need to get your consent to do this. And she was like super drugged up, and he basically like forced her hand to write. Yeah,
after she said no. Like she said no multiple times.
That was brutal.
So I don't know how much she was coerced into taking on the whole Anastasia name, because there was a lot, I don't know, I'm trying to get into her head. There was a lot that was working against her, but also a lot of people making assumptions.
Yeah.
So those assumptions are one thing. Also the royal family I'm looking on page 138, the 6 months later, the Manhattan thing, where it talks about the family of the Tsar and how they are putting no stock in this woman's claim of being Anastasia, and how much it like killed her to read that, and how she was confiding in Gleb and everything. Man, it just makes me more and more angry.
That's interesting. I didn't. Well, again, because I didn't realize till the end. I never clued in at those moments because it was like, oh, she's really angry about this. What page is that on?
138.
The The Manhattan 1930.
Yeah, it's the whole first paragraph that's indented.
Yeah. I'm just reading it over right now.
I'm just drinking my tea.
Yep. Yeah.
So do you think she actually convinced herself that she was? Like, do you think she was in such a low place that she actually convinced herself that she was Anastasia? Because why else would you be so upset?
Probably.
I don't think that she believed it necessarily so much as she committed herself to the lie.
Mm.
So she didn't want people questioning her. She didn't want people bringing anything up because she didn't want to defend it, but she was already too far in.
Okay, that's fair.
Like that's kind of where my head went with it. Because it didn't seem like she believed it necessarily. Like when we're reading her POV, she's still talking about herself as Anna Anderson, but you can sort of tell the underlying hate that she has for who she was and what her past had brought her. So with the baby having to give it up and the loss of her husband and everything like that, you could kind of read a bit in how she reacts to things that definitely affected her decisions and caused her to be that way.
That makes sense.
The suicide attempt, that was intense as well, when she got, like, when they like pulled her out, and like immediately she was just treated like a criminal right off the hop, instead of like,
Well, it's illegal.
no, I know, but it just seemed kind of brutal to me, like instead of like showing like a little bit of compassion to someone who just tried to kill themselves and was injured, and yeah, just
For
I
us
always
now, yeah, it feels like that. But back then and in that time and in that place, it was illegal and supposed to be held up against the law. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's technically still illegal in some places, which I still find funny. I find it weird to make that illegal, but anyway.
Yeah, it's just a tough scene to.
I really liked the one doctor though, that
Gleb's dad
possibly, I can't remember now.
In Anastasia's timeline or in
No, not in no. I know who you're talking about now. Not Gleb's dad, but yes, him too. But in Anna's timeline, the one doctor that ended up being like, "I'm going to take you to the mental institution instead of to the police." Like, I'm gonna like he kind of took pity on her, even though there was all the stuff with the orderlies or like whatever. He still kind of was like, "I don't know about you. Like, I think you're sane, but." Like, I'm gonna kind of be kind to you. Like, the police want you, they want to arrest you, but this is what I'm gonna do. Like, I saw that there was a bit of redeeming qualities to him in some aspects.
Yeah, he was trying.
Yes.
That was important. Who totally didn't know that there was a Gradnador corporation?
Is that a thing?
That they made for her. Like, I didn't know about that. And I'm assuming it's a real thing because how else would they have funded everything?
Oh.
But I thought that was just genius. Like, Gradnador, Grand Duchess Anastasia Nikolaevna of Russia. And then they just shortened it to make it that. I just thought that was smart.
That, if it is a real thing, that's really impressive. And if it's not a real thing, good on the author for thinking of it. Because that's a really
thought out.
Mm-hmm.
And then having people buy into it. So, because the whole premise with it was they got sponsors to pay for her appeal to be known as the Grand Duchess Anastasia. And all of these people bought into it, into this corporation. And then once her title is given to her, then they get a portion with interest, I believe it was, back after she gets the money from the family. So, I mean, that was a smart way to. Gleb was thinking, but poor Gleb was so affected with his obsession with Anastasia that he didn't even see it wasn't her.
I feel bad for Gleb. He was so sweet. Like,
too. How did him and Tanya not realize?
They must have just not wanted. they blinded themselves to it, I
Saw
feel
what
like.
all
They were
wanted to
children
see.
when it all went down.
Mhm.
Like, they were kids. They were sent away from their close friends. They weren't allowed to see them when they were in captivity. And, like, I mean, he's the one that, like, saved a pear for her. And, like,
No.
it was
And
so
he is 4
sweet.
years younger. He is 4 years younger.
Yeah, and then sent away, and then you hear these rumors, but you don't want to believe they're true. You don't want to believe that these people that you grew up with have been murdered. And so then when there's hope, and then apparently this girl looks enough like her and is the same age and like similarities enough that why wouldn't you want to cling to that? I mean,
That's true.
it's a, I don't know, but it's sad.
I did like their father though, Dr. Bodkin.
Bakken, yeah.
Yeah, I liked him too.
Thoughts on Gillard, or however you say his name?
I liked him.
Pierre Gilliard. The two.
Yeah.
I liked him.
I liked him at the end.
He was a bit of a hard ass, but he was good.
That's like a teacher's MO sometimes, though,
know.
when they're trying to get a good lesson into you.
I know the part in the when I think it was the scene when they're in the antique store when they're looking at the paper knife and Tanya tells her because obviously she thinks it's the Anastasia that she's talking to. She's like, yeah, he felt incredibly guilty for taking away that knife from her on the train station because he feels that he literally took away her only form of protection, even though it was such a small thing. But I was like, oh my gosh, like.
I know that is heartbreaking. Like I can't even imagine being him and hearing about everything that happened to the family, and then knowing that you took that away. Not that it would have made a difference in the end.
Yeah, but could have.
But still, it's something.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to know, kind of jumping backwards, but this part of the conversation sent me there. But I do want to know how much of the Thomas relationship there actually was, because if he actually had given her the option of escape right before, like that moment was so difficult. And I was sitting there trying to think, like, how would you make that decision where like you're ultimately going to die? Like there is no way out of this if you stay, but the guilt you would feel for leaving your family and then warning them doesn't help because you can't do anything, and having to sit there and pretend like everything's okay. And like that would just be so heartbreaking. And
I mean, the only way in reality that we can know that is if Tomas retold his story
right
to someone and made a note of it. So I feel like it was just added in for fictionalized purposes, but it would have been a nice addition to reality.
Yeah.
To have him at least, not obviously the decision that Anastasia had to make, but yeah. It's so sad, but kind of uplifting in a way that she had him, if not in reality, at least in the story.
Again, the animal lover in me is very thankful that the mob or whatever, the guards, they didn't shoot the other dogs. Like they just said, leave the dogs, you guys come with me. So at least they spared the two surviving dogs, and Jimmy went off with Tomas.
Yeah.
Even though in the
you could like hear
author's
the dog
note,
crying off in the distance. I was like, oh my gosh.
That was a heartbreaking scene. Also, going back to the train, because the train scene happened just before part 3, I believe it was, and ending a whole part of the book, like ending part 2 on that moment.
Yep.
That was really intense.
Yep.
agreed.
Like, how the author put that in, I mean, it's true to history, but man, that is a crazy thing to add.
Yep, for sure.
People are so mean.
People are mean when they're in a mob mentality and they're following an evil ruler.
Yep. I like how the author said in her postword or her afterword how she didn't want to have like too many Yakovs in the book, so she had the one guy nicknamed Leshy. Like, that helps.
Yeah.
There was I know we briefly talked about this amongst ourselves, but I loved the author's note. Like
Yes.
the author's note, it was so blunt. It was so, I love how she started it being like, I know, I always like to read the author's note first, but don't. Like, go back, don't read it. Like, please don't. And then like when she went into things, like she was so honest, and it just made, I mean, it made me understand more about the book, made me understand more about her and why she chose to do different things. And then just the fact that she was like, I didn't want to write this book. I really didn't want to write this book. This book was made me write it. Like, oh, it was just.
I had another book that I wanted to write, but yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? I went to the author's note about halfway through the book, and I was going to read it. But that first paragraph, I was like, oh, even though I know what's going to happen, I'm like, no, I'm not going to read it yet. And I'm really happy that you guys read the author note, because not a lot of people do, I find. I feel like forwards and afterwards and author's notes, a lot of people skim over or don't even bother with.
I always do.
I didn't.
I'm very glad that you guys read it.
Well, it was like, because I think it was it like literally the next page after the explosion thing?
No, there was the I told you so, which was interesting. The I told you so was an interesting, like you want to believe
the page
that
and I saw that. I was like, okay, I have to read this, and then I'm glad I did.
That I told you so was so smart to add in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that she said that she emulated more with Anna than Anastasia.
Yes. That's very interesting, actually.
Like, that's the whole reason that she wanted to write the story, was to get Anna's story out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really interesting.
She's a very good author.
Mm-hmm.
She really is. This is the first book of hers that I've ever read, but if she puts in, like, if she does work like this, where she puts in this much research and this much effort, even into a book that she didn't really want to write, I can only imagine how great her actual books are.
That she's passionate about.
Books that she actually wants to write.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the fact that an author was able to, when any author is able to make me empathize with the villain, for lack of a better word. I mean, she's not the villain because the whole purpose is we're supposed to think she is, but the fact that she made me empathize with the fact that this girl was in this terrible position and then she took on this role because whatever. I mean, that's impressive. It's like,
and made you question the reality of it.
Yeah.
Try to like get into her head and figure out like why, instead of just pointing a finger and judging. And
it's like the TV show that we were talking about.
Oh yes. Hey, like we keep going back to that, don't we?
I need to watch that still.
I think Kaylee and I need to watch it.
Yeah, and then we should come back here and have a discussion about the show.
Discussion about you.
We should read you.
Oh, could read you.
Maybe
Shannon, you could make that your monthly pick.
Yeah, I think I might.
But you already know.
That might not be the same.
You'll be the Kaylee.
Yeah, you'll be the me.
Oh, we all need an advantage sometimes. And there's actually 2 books that the show is based off of, so I don't know if we read one or the other, if how different the content will be. So
that's fair.
I think it would be fine. Side note, I found a copy of the Romanovs on Amazon for $40 hardcover.
Nice. It's a beautiful book. Like, in real life, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous book.
Looks like it.
Well, like, not just the, I don't know, like the cover on Audible or whatever.
Gotcha.
I don't know. It's just it's such an interesting read. Like, not wanting to go too much into that book now, but I'm in the 1800s right now for the Romanov family. So
you're getting there.
Yeah, I've gone through the 1600s, the 1700s, and now I'm into the 1800s. So just everything that happens to them in their family, it's like I'm reading a friggin' book. Well, I am reading a book, but it's like I'm reading a fantasy. Like, the things that happen in fantasy books that you don't think actually happen in real life are happening to this family.
That's crazy. I couldn't believe that they were related to freaking Queen of England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when that came up, I was like, whoa, hold up. So,
I think I
what is
actually
going
wrote
on
that
here?
in my notes somewhere too, with like a bunch of question marks behind it. She's like, she was related to Queen Victoria? I can't remember.
You got to
what
keep
chapter that was.
royalty together with royalty, guys.
So crazy.
Yeah, it's damn,
It's-
I know.
But then they didn't
Same.
help them, and
No. Well, there was a lot going on at the time in both places.
yeah, fair. I guess that's fair. I can't completely judge them for that.
They were busy.
They were a little busy to,
They were
you know,
busy.
fend off the entire country.
Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah, I
So
found it. Queen
any
Victoria was Anna's great grandmother? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Mind blown.
Oh man. So we're coming up at about an hour, you guys.
We did it.
It's been almost an hour. This is crazy.
I mean, there
I
were a few awkward pauses.
Pretty good for our first time, I'd say.
Not too shabby. We were a little bit jumpy all over the place for plot, but
So was the
I don't
book.
know. So is the book. We're on trend. It's okay.
That's damn
Did you guys have any final thoughts about it at all? I know we kind of wrapped it up a bit, but yeah.
I think so. One thought I had when I finished it was the teacher in me was like, oh, I wish I was teaching like a high school lit class, because then I would get them to read this book and then as a project do research on the Romanovs, because it was a really good book. I don't know. I thought it was really well done.
History class too.
Yeah, history book and whatever. Yeah, I think it's a great read. I'm recently been getting into more historical fiction and I'm really enjoying it, and it makes me just want to learn more.
Yeah.
So I think it was very well done and entertaining, not just historical.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. I think this is my first historical fiction I've read, actually.
No. That's not your first historical fiction.
I think it was only my second. Never mind. No, because I have like Anne Frank and like.
Oh, Angela's Ashes.
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
Come
okay,
on,
never mind.
Okay.
Okay.
You've
But
read
that's
more
not
than
far back. That's like not in the adult
way
life.
back. Yeah,
This
it's
is
old
like
for this.
childhood here.
We're old.
I recommend Atonement. Anybody who wants a historical fiction that just breaks your heart.
I own
Atonement by Ian McEwan.
You own it, but you haven't read it? What am I saying? I have a huge TBR red shelf.
I did. Like a long.
You
I
did?
So you read what?
Young. I'm remembering now. I'm like only a few off the top of my head, but
I remember.
I have
Do you
not
remember?
ventured into that genre.
I remember. Okay, so I think that wraps up the discussion on I Was Anastasia by Ariel Lawhon. If you haven't read it and you've lasted this long and you've watched all of this, sorry for the spoilers, but read it. And
Has anybody been watching this?
We have. If you guys are still on watching it through your own things, it's you guys. But we've got a couple viewers. I think we got up to like 5.
It says 2 watching now on your YouTube channel, and that's probably me and Jessica.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. But we did get up to 5 at one point, so you know that's a thing. Considering this is the first time, and I'm not a very big channel. But what we do have, or what I have a copy of here, is our February read. So if anybody wants to participate for next month for our discussion, which will happen again at the end of the month. We haven't picked a date yet, though. But we are going to be reading Jessica's pick, which is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr.
I'm really excited. Mine's really excited too.
Excited. This is one that I've wanted to read for a while, too, so I am very happy to have this. Yeah, and it's another historical fiction.
All right.
Hey, I feel like I'm becoming a historical fiction channel.
Me too. Well, not a channel. I'm not a channel.
You're totally a channel, Jess. If you believe you're a channel, you are a channel.
Can I change my birth certificate? That is the question.
I don't know if you'd want to.
Okay.
No, you're a channel.
So yes, this is
my children. I'm a channel.
February read. So, does everybody have a copy yet?
I got mine. I got mine for Christmas.
That's right.
Yeah.
I get paid on
Shannon?
Friday, so I will order a copy either off Amazon or
On Chapters Indigo, support
Yep.
Canadian.
and get plum points.
Yeah, because you know what happens when you save up plum points? You can be like me, and on a
Yeah.
big sale day, use 100 points and get $200 in books. It's fantastic.
That is amazing.
That's
I'm
true.
so jealous about that. I have iRewards though, so I get a percentage off every time that I buy, and
Yeah,
then
but
they
you have to
email
pay
me
for
at the end
iRewards.
of the year.
Ugh,
But they tell me at the end of the year how much I saved, and it's great.
I paid so they can tell me how much I saved.
It's amazing. Also, this is
about how much you
530
spent?
pages.
Yeah. I know. I love one of my favorite jobs in like my top 3 jobs of all time was when I worked at Chapters. It was the best. I loved working at Chapters.
I'm so jealous.
Their whole
All right.
thing.
Well, I figure we should probably end this because I know that we can be chatting for ages, but we still have Marco Polo that we can talk on. But for this, because it's about an hour, I am going to end the live stream. So it successfully worked, I think. Like, I don't know. This is my first time doing a live stream, so I was anticipating a lot of issues like that. Oh man. Oh my god. When did you have time to go to Marco Polo, Jess? Okay, I'm going to end this here. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. And I have a lot of videos that have just come up in the last week. So, oh man, do you have content by me? So if you want to catch up, I posted on Sunday, I posted on Friday, I posted yesterday, and I have another video going up on Wednesday where I am talking about an announcement for a readathon that I'm doing in February from the 1st to the 14th that is all centered around D&D. So I'm very excited for that. I filmed the announcement video today, and I can't wait for it. This is a readathon that I've wanted to do for about a year now, and it's finally happening. I'm so excited. Okay, so look out for that on Wednesday. And thank you so much, Jess and Shannon, for joining me for the discussion today.
Thank
it was
you.
great chatting with you guys.
Good book.
Lots of good commentary, ladies.
Cheers, you guys.
Oh,
Jess
cheers.
already.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers, ladies. And
First
thanks
book chat,
again.
one and done.
One and done. Have a good night.